Hello, everyone. This is Chris Rennirt from Space Jockey Reviews, here today with actress Hayley Derryberry. How are you today, Hayley?
I'm really good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. It's great to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm really excited that you even want me.
Oh, well, absolutely. Absolutely. You've got a lot of projects I'd like to talk about, especially some uh, a science fiction film that fits right into Space Jockey Reviews, and we'll get to that later. But first, I love your last name, Derryberry. It's so unusual that I have to ask you if you've done any research to know where it originated from.
My dad has. My dad has a whole folder that he's been putting together for years about the Derryberry name. I think originally it comes from Ireland, and then it might have some traces as far back as the Black Forest as well. So some Germanic roots.
Yes.
But yeah, it is a very uncommon name, and I've run into some people with the same name, and it's like, oh, it's like we're in a sorority or something. It's like, oh, you're one of the Derryberries, the very few out there. So that's always cool.
Okay, great. Well, I had to ask you about your name because it's just so unusual. I really like it. And I've researched my own name. It came from Germany. So, okay, next I'll ask the question I ask everyone, but it always has a very interesting and unique answer. How did you get into acting, Hayley?
Well, I started acting in church first when I was younger. I grew up in Tennessee in a really small town with not a lot of community theater or professional theater programs. So I started acting in church and then in school as soon as it was possible for me, and then in college, and then decided to do it professionally. I think what I when I was a kid, I wanted to be an actor just because my family always loved movies. We watched a lot of movies, and every time I'd watch a movie, I always wanted to be whatever like if it was Indiana Jones, I wanted to be an archaeologist, or I wanted to be a doctor, or I wanted to be a scientist. And then I think I decided one day the only way I could be all those things is to be an actor. And so from that point on, I always wanted to do it. And it was a bit surprising to my family because I'm pretty shy. I come from a really big family with lots of brothers and sisters, and so when I started like getting up on stage and doing crazy things, it was just so out of character. They couldn't believe it. But yeah, so then I was in college in Tennessee doing theater acting, and my mom actually was living in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and she's the one who like called me and told me, hey, they're making a lot of movies out here. They're making TV shows out here. Because I never really wanted to go to Hollywood. It was always such a big, just too big for me. And so she was like, why don't you come out here, just try it for a year, try it out, see if you can get involved with some of the filmmaking. And so then that's when I moved out there, and 1 year ended up turning into, I think, 4 years I spent in New Mexico. And that's when I really started professionally acting.
Okay. Right.
And now I'm in LA doing the regular old acting thing. So.
Well, great. Who are your influences or role models?
Mostly people I've met who you probably wouldn't know, who I've just met them and seen them go after what they want and achieve what they want against all odds. People in my family who kind of broke out of the norm, didn't confine themselves to the limits of the town that they grew up in, things like that. That's always been an inspiration to me. Then people I work with now, who I'm acting with, who've been out here for years, for decades, doing what they love and pursuing it and not giving up. Those are the people that inspire me daily to keep going.
Okay, those are some great inspirations for sure. Your first feature film, called Rabid Love, is coming out soon, and I am correct about that. I have not seen it yet, but from the trailer it looks very interesting, and a title like Rabid Love, of course, makes it all the more intriguing for sure. What's better is that you appear to be possibly the heroine of the movie, so tell us about Rabid Love.
Yeah, no, Rabid Love is my first feature film as a producer, but it's not my first feature film as an actor.
Okay.
But yes, that's one that I've been involved with from the early stages of development. My husband wrote the script and directed the film, and we produced it together. And my character, Heather, is the heroine of the film, which is great. I love horror movies where you get to have a woman kick ass.
Right,
and this is definitely one of those. Sorry about that.
No,
yeah,
that's okay.
This is one of those films. I play Heather Ross, who is just a regular old Midwestern girl from a small town. The film takes place in Kansas in 1984, and it follows a group of friends who are celebrating graduating college by going out to a cabin that's owned by their family for a weekend of hunting and fishing and relaxing, and then chaos happens. So sorry, got a phone call coming in.
Oh, I love that ring. That's a Space Jockey ring right
Yeah, this is my sci-fi ring. But yeah, so Rabid Love, we made a short version, and I think have you seen the short film version of Rabid Love?
I have not.
Oh,
I have seen the trailer, but I could not.
I think what we did was we shot like a 20-minute short film, but we ended up, I think, just releasing it as a trailer itself, because the short film Paul did for as a project for his class, and it wasn't we didn't really have enough to make a cohesive short film. It ended up, I think we just released it as the trailer to promote the feature.
Okay.
But yeah, it is Rabid Love. It is everything that classic horror films are. Was inspired. We were inspired by classic horror films like Evil Dead, American Werewolf in London, Friday the 13th, like these original early 80s, late 70s horror films. And we wanted to keep true to that genre, and also just kind of bring life to that period of time. So I'm really excited about it.
Yes, I am very excited about seeing that also. It looks really, really good. So when is that scheduled for release?
Hopefully we'll be premiering it here in LA pretty soon with a screening.
Okay.
But as far as when we'll get to show it to the public, that's going to depend on who we sell it to. At this point, it's in the very final stages of being polished and prepared with music and video quality and stuff. And then we're going to be showing that to potential distributors. And then, so it'll depend. It might have a theatrical release. It would probably be pretty, not very broadly released. Maybe some film festivals. And then it'll probably be on DVD or video on demand, iTunes, stuff like that. We will have it. We have it at a couple film festivals already. It's going to be at AMFM Film Festival in Palm Springs in June, I believe, and then Albuquerque Film Festival in August. So it'll be there, and hopefully maybe some horror film festivals as well.
Okay, and you will, of course, keep Space Jockey Reviews updated on all of the progress and everything, because we will certainly be covering that.
Yes, definitely.
You also did some video blogging on the set of Rabid Love that is available on YouTube, and I'll have some of those posted here with your interview. How many episodes did you do for that, and do you plan on doing this for more of your films in the future?
I think we did 4 episodes that I just shot on my phone while we were in Kansas, and I uploaded them straight to YouTube. I didn't even do any editing on those. But I definitely plan to do more behind the scenes. On every project, we're going to have a camera rolling all the time because it's so much more fun to have that.
Yes, I recently did behind-the-scenes filming and photography for a movie being filmed in Louisville, and afterwards they were also very appreciative of it, and so it really makes a difference. And I have enjoyed watching the blogging you did for that on YouTube so far. And so again, look for those, everyone, in this interview. I will put some of those right here for you. You've also starred in a science fiction short film called Bloom that you said was also your idea. Am I right?
Yeah, I came up with the initial idea for the story, and then Paul wrote the script.
Okay. I did watch this several times because I really like it. It's a film about one of my favorite sci-fi subjects, androids, and it relates to the always interesting idea of androids desiring to be human. Or so that's the way I perceived it. In the movie, you did an excellent job of playing an android carrying out a facade of things being normal when they aren't in order to survive as long as possible. Or, again, that's the way I perceived it. Not only is Bloom an outstanding film, it's also most impressive that it was written, shot, and edited in a single weekend, or so I read.
Yeah.
It even won an award at the 2011 National Film Challenge. So tell us about your experiences working on Bloom, how you came up with the idea, and how you pulled off such a great film in such short time.
Yeah, we have worked a few times on the National Film Challenge, and they are also affiliated with the 48-Hour Film Challenge. And they're basically the same thing. It's a timed filmmaking competition. Both of them, the only difference is with the 48-Hour Film Festival, it's more in person, it's city by city. The National Film Challenge, everyone works on the same weekend and everyone mails in their submissions. But, so the way these competitions work is they'll start usually on Friday night, and they'll give you a genre that your movie has to be, which is totally random. And then they'll have like a line of dialogue that has to be in the movie, a particular character that you need to include, and a prop that you have to use on camera. So I recommend these timed filmmaking competitions for anyone who's getting started in filmmaking. It's like boot camp. It just really gets you to do it, which I think is one of the hardest things that aspiring filmmakers have to overcome, is just the doing it. There's all this talking about it and planning it, but just the doing it. And this forces you to do it, to shoot it, to write it, to edit it all in one weekend, and then it's done. You have a finished product, which is great. So with Bloom, that was National Film Challenge, which I think is 3 days. They give you a little bit extra time for editing, and you have to mail it in. And we drew sci-fi, and we love sci-fi. I love sci-fi. It's like my favorite growing up. I just love sci-fi so much, and we're big fans of the Twilight Zone. And when I say we, I mean my husband and I. And that concept actually came from an episode of The Twilight Zone, season 1, episode 7, called The Lonely. And it was a story about I think a convicted murderer who lives on an asteroid, and then someone brings him a robot, and he has this robot companion, and then he gets a pardon, and he gets to go back home, but he can't carry his robot with him. He can't carry that much weight. So that is a story that stuck with me after seeing it for so long, and it was just this horrible, tragic tale of this. She's a woman. She happens to be a robot, but she's a woman, and her whole life, her whole reason for existence is just this one man, and to lose him, like, how does she go on? It makes me cry. It's such a sad concept. And so that that was something that I'd always had in the back of my brain. And so then when we got Bloom, that was what I kind of came to. It was like this woman who her whole reason for living is gone. Like her whole programming is to serve this one person, and he's gone. Like what happens then? So then we created this really just tragic little short film about her going about her daily routine and not understanding life and death. And so then it's kind of cool because the audience is slowly revealing as to what's going on. You don't really know what's going on at first. Some people didn't realize she was a robot at first, and so that was really great. I love Bloom. I'm very happy with the way it turned out. I loved playing the character. I think a lot of actors love playing these types of characters where you get to really play with non-human emotions. It's cool.
Well, it's very interesting and a great coincidence. I also am a huge fan of The Twilight Zone. I have every episode on DVD, and that particular episode I am very familiar with it because it's one of my favorites also. I love it. And it's just exactly that concept of the android, the life of the android evoking the question about exactly what it takes to be a human and giving the android a sense of self-preservation, much like a human, and makes you question exactly, again, what is it to be a human. And so I really love that episode also. It's one of the most watched episodes I have.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just actually, for our anniversary in November, I bought Paul the complete Twilight Zone on Blu-ray, and we've been watching those. We love them so much.
Well, I got into it so early that it cost me a lot more, and it takes up a lot more space, because I started buying those when they were on, it was just 2 episodes per disc.
Oh, wow.
And it was like $20 a pop, so I paid a lot more.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. We've got the whole season in just like a little thing like this, and that's every episode. It's crazy. Yeah.
That's the way they do it now, but at that time, it takes up, I have a whole shelf now devoted to nothing but Twilight Zone because I have it that way. Oh, well.
That's cool. You have to make more of a commitment to it. I like that.
Right. I just, that was a show, I have to say this, that was a show when I was a kid. It came on at 11 o'clock, which was my bedtime. And I used to beg my parents to stay up just that extra half hour to watch The Twilight Zone. And again, this was also before they even had VCRs or anything. So you were either awake at the time to watch it live or else.
Yeah.
And so that brings back so many memories. I can sit and watch those shows and just feel like a kid again, really.
Well, your parents are pretty lenient. I think my bedtime was 9 o'clock. Wow.
Oh.
You had it easy.
Yeah, well, just being at 11 o'clock right before The Twilight Zone was just as bad as 9 o'clock for me.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because most of the time they didn't let me stay up.
Yeah.
So again, it's another question about Bloom, which I found really interesting about you and your acting in the film. Was there anything special you did to prepare yourself to play such a convincing android, especially in the scenes where you showed the android struggling with human emotions? I'm thinking of a particular scene where you show your character, Bloom 1.9, as she's called, going through a series of facial expressions and emotions, none of which she seems to be sure of.
I don't know that, it was, it was timed, so it wasn't like I could spend a whole lot of time developing this character, but like I said, I think it was an idea of something that was in the back of my mind for so long, and I've seen so many robots portrayed on film and stuff, so I think it just was a mesh of every idea of cyborgs that I ever had, and then just the idea of what's happening to her specifically, and then it's also very much a love story between a man and a woman, and so that I can obviously relate to. So the planning for that, no, I think it was more of an outside. I think I approached it more of an outsider looking in, not so much as me myself, but just the way that I felt. It's so tragic for this horrible, horrible thing that's happening to her.
Right.
That I think to have played it without any emotion, without any human emotion, would have, I don't know, it would have been impossible for me. I mean, I guess we could have done it. It would have been different. It just wouldn't have the same message to it. And I think when you start playing around with artificial intelligence and things, it's going to happen. There's going to be an emotion. There's going to be something there that's more than machine. It's just going to happen. So I didn't question it too much, and I just let it be for situationally for what it should have been. So.
Well, a lot of people might think that it's easier to play an android maybe, but really I don't think it is at all. You do have to think about a lot of special things because it's outside of being human, but yet in this case attempting to show a machine trying to be human. So it's a little bit more complex, as I would think. So this, my guess is you probably also like Blade Runner, maybe.
Yeah.
Because there's
definitely.
Yes.
But I think one of my favorite android characters is probably Lance Henriksen from Aliens.
Okay.
I think that's probably one of my first places that my brain goes to. And Stepford Wives. Yes, Paul just reminded me. That was one of our big influences. The original and the remake, which are both two very different movies. But yes, very much Stepford Wives when we were writing that. But yeah, Lance Henriksen is one of my favorite android characters. And then the Prometheus, which came out last summer, that was after Bloom, but I really liked what Michael Fassbender did with that character.
I did too. I loved that. I did a huge review of that on my website. I couldn't wait for that to come out. And I'll also mention that Bloom did win Best Use of Genre Award for a sci-fi film at the 2011 National Film Challenge. Am I correct?
Yes, we were very excited to win that because sci-fi as a genre is very important to us. So to be recognized as best use of our genre, actually best use of any genre, but our genre being sci-fi, that was a very big achievement for us.
Yes. And of course, in any good film I watch, there's always a line that sticks out to me for one reason or the other, and I always think of Bloom here for your complimentary upgrade assistance service. That's such an ironic moment that she tries to hold off to the last minute.
Yes, because I think what we decided was that if she gets upgraded, that she would lose her memory bank, and without him, I don't remember what his character was, but basically she would lose all memory of him and the life that they had together. So that's why she fears the upgrade. But without the upgrade, then she's gonna be shut down. So it's kind of this deciding to fade away with the man that you loved and the life that you had. So.
Yes. Okay, and moving on to the next short film I've seen, which I also really enjoyed, is My Shadow. It's a great short mockumentary that you were in about a girl, Jenny Maxwell, who actually wants a stalker. Yeah. Of all most unique and unusual things, since I've never seen that done before. It's meant to be funny, and it really is. I've gotten a good laugh watching it more than once already, which is the reason I keep watching it. What's more impressive is that it was made in just 48 hours and won several awards as well. So tell us about your experience working on yet another great film, and also tell us about how you got yourself in the mindset to play such a convincing, nerdy type of character. Obviously nothing like you really are in person.
I don't know how true that is. I think all of my characters definitely have something close to who I am. But yeah, that one was, again, it was 48 hour. We had to just come up with the idea really fast and go with it. I love mockumentary. It's a great genre. It's so fun as an actor because you just really get to, that's one where you get to improvise. You just turn the cameras on and go. And I'd had experience doing a mockumentary web series before. It's online somewhere. It's called Indie the Series. So my experience with that kind of prepared me for the mockumentary genre. I also, I don't know if at the time we shot that, I don't think I had studied improv at the time, but since then I've studied improv. But that one was, we just kind of came up with the idea. I think I had heard someone make a joke about if you could find a stalker, like a wanted ad, putting out a wanted ad to find a stalker, and so I just kind of thought of that when we came up with the idea of myshadow.com, and then just I think the other great character in that is Rob Luke. He plays the CEO of My Shadow, and so it really follows both of their storylines, Jenny and CEO guy. I don't know what his character's name was.
I think it was Terry Gordon.
Yes.
I believe. Yes.
Correct. Terry Gordon. And he's a friend of ours who's a great actor, and he's a voiceover actor. He's got such a good voice. You really hear it. And he was in Bloom, too. He was the Bloom CEO in a little bit of a cameo there. So shooting that was, again, kind of a blur when you shoot for 48 hours. I think we shot it in one day, and then the next day was just the editing. Preparing for the character, I like to ground all of my characters with something physical, and so for that character, for Jenny, she was always uncomfortable. She was just always uncomfortable in her skin, and just really I don't know. That's how I created that one, and I can relate. I am kind of a dork. I'm a bit of a geek. And so I definitely related with that. So yeah, creating that character was so fun. I loved it.
Yes, I have to also say, and I was going to mention this anyway, that Rob Luke, the guy who plays Terry Gordon, and the president and founder of MyShadow.com, he really does just a standout job of playing the type of cheesy, infomercial type character you'd expect in this sort of mockumentary. So I really thought he was just perfect for the role. Everything, definitely. The hairstyle and the whole.
Yes, definitely.
And I'll also add that My Shadow won awards for Best Acting, Best Writing, and even the Audience Award at the 2011 48-Hour Film Project. Am I correct?
Well, we were nominated for Best Writing, but we did not win.
Okay.
But we were among the films nominated. That was a big surprise for us. That was our first year living in LA. Actually, we'd only been here for a few months, and we coming from Albuquerque, New Mexico. We had worked on the 48-Hour Film Project there as well, and then so this was our first time in LA, and we were just sure that we were gonna just hope to be able to somewhat hold our own amongst the LA filmmakers, and we were very surprised that our film was so well received, and that we even got awards for Best Acting in LA. We were like, what? This is where the best actors in the world are, and so that was such a huge achievement. We were really excited that night. It was a very big deal, and I'm very happy with how the movie turned out. It was great. It was perfect.
Yes, it certainly was. I have recommended that to a lot of my friends already, and I will have that also posted here on Space Jockey Reviews. And so for all the listeners out there, Hayley's short films, Bloom and My Shadow, will be featured on Space Jockey Reviews, along with her acting reel and, of course, the trailer for Rabid Love. And certainly I'll be reviewing Rabid Love as well, so be sure to look for all of those here on SJR. And now, back to the interview. You work at Rogue Tourist Productions, who produced Bloom, My Shadow, and also Rabid Love. How long have you worked with them? And tell us a little about Rogue Tourist.
Right, Rogue Tourist Productions is my husband's production company. I'm not sure how long he's had it. He had it before I met him, but not long before I met him. I guess it's been around for about 8 years now, or since 2008. Sorry, and he's in the room with me. He's helping out, but
okay, that's okay.
Yeah. So he is a producer and a director. He's finishing up his master's degree in producing right now at New York Film Academy here in Los Angeles. He's about to graduate next month. We're really excited. And he has a background of being a U.S. Marine. He was in the Marine Corps for 13 years, and now he's a filmmaker, and he's great. He's like super disciplined, like you would expect a Marine to be, and bringing that into the filmmaking world, I think, is a beautiful combination, a recipe for success. So yeah, we've had a great time. We started doing a lot of short films, 48-hour films, National Film Challenge films, and Rabid Love is our first feature. And yeah, I think a lot of all of the films have some kind of Twilight Zone thing to them, because that's one of Paul's major influences is Twilight Zone. Even My Shadow, I don't know, it's a bit of a stretch. Maybe even My Shadow is a little bit of a Twilight Zone in the fact that it would take place in some other realm, not here. So it even has a little bit of Twilight Zone there. But yeah, and Rabid Love too. It's a horror, but it has a bit of a science fiction element to it. So yeah. Well, yeah, so that's it about Rogue Tourist. I guess I've been a part of Rogue Tourist for 4 years now. Yeah, I love it. It keeps me working, doing something other than just being an actor. I've been learning editing. I edited the rough draft for Rabid Love, and so I've been doing a lot of editing. I'm editing the behind the scenes, which is a whole nother ball game, putting together something documentary where you just have so much footage and no script to go by. So that's something in its own right. And yeah, that's Rogue Tourist, I guess.
Okay, that's a lot of good information. I see that you also have your own YouTube channel, Hayley Bells TV. It's HAYLZBELLZ TV.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched some of your videos there already, and you do a great job of talking about your favorite TV shows. Great stuff, indeed. Tell us more about Hayley Bells TV. When did you start it, and how often do you post new episodes?
I haven't posted in quite a while. Actually, since we shot Rabid Love, I don't think I've posted. I started it up because I love TV. I love TV shows. I have been, a couch potato since I was a kid. I love watching TV. So I wanted to start video blogging. I was inspired by some friends of mine who video blog. So I started blogging about TV shows, new stuff that was on, and I liked it, but I think the reason I haven't continued it was because out here in LA, if you're gonna be, you can't. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like I didn't want to say anything bad about a TV show that might in the future actually want to hire me. So then it became like, oh well, I can't do bad reviews. I can only say good reviews, and then it just became more boring if I could only just say good things about shows and never say a downside. So it was like, oh, I don't know if I want to keep putting this out. It could potentially hurt me in job searching. And then luckily I've been busy enough doing feature films and doing comedy and stuff that I haven't had all that much free time to be devoting to Hayley Bells TV. But I might do another blog, maybe with a slightly different take. Something not quite TV reviews, maybe something else. We'll see.
Okay.
I've been thinking about blogging about my life as a hand model, but I don't know if it'll be very interesting. But I thought it might be unique because no one else does it.
Okay, well, tell us about your hand modeling. You must have really good exemplary hands then. Tell us about that.
You know, it's weird, but actually, since I was a little girl, people have told me that I had great hands. And my mom was always thought I should be a hand model. Of course, when you're growing up in Tennessee, what does that mean? I'm like, I have no idea. So since I've been out...
So you were recognized early on as a hand model potential then?
Yes, that's really weird, but yes. I have always. It's so weird. But yeah, so now that I'm out in LA, like, I actually found that you could actually be a hand model and people pay you for it. So I started doing that, and it's just a matter of taking really good care of your hands. I wear gloves a lot when I'm out. If I'm working or carrying things, I always have gloves on. Moisturize all the time. Take care of my nails, things like that. And I have had a few jobs, and it pays really nice. So it's worth it.
Wow.
It's worth it. I like doing it.
So you're pretty busy as a hand model then?
Busy, I don't know. It is enough to supplement my income, thankfully. But no, I don't get that many jobs. My first hand modeling job was for Heinz ketchup, and I had to like hold a tomato. It was kind of like the Twilight where they're holding an apple, but I was holding a tomato. And that was for a Hispanic market, so I never even got to see it, but I hope it turned out really well. And then I just did a job last month for Zyrtec that was for a web commercial, so I don't know if that one's come out yet.
So I've probably seen your hands countless times before and didn't even know it, I guess.
Maybe. I know that they're always creeping up when I'm acting. I can't keep my hands away from my face.
Well, let's see those hands. Put them up there so we can see those perfect hands. Wow.
They're pretty nice.
They are, certainly.
I was filing them before you called, and so they're a little uneven right now. But I do have to file it. I would advise for wannabe hand models, taking good care of your nails. File them often, because that keeps them from getting brittle and breaking. There's my advice.
Right.
You too can be a hand model.
Go ahead. Yeah. So for all you potential hand models out there, this is great advice. Keep those fingernails polished and protect them and all that good stuff. That's great advice. You also did a great job doing interviews for Movie Buzz Interviews, getting opinions at a movie premiere for Project X is one I'm thinking of that I saw on YouTube. Do you have any interest in doing more interviews? I may have to give you a job at Space Jockey Reviews if you do.
That would be really cool. Yes, hosting, I love it. The way that came about is my friend Arya, who does Movie Buzz Interviews. We've been working with him, going every week and helping him interview, and then he was out of town one week, and the people who want the interviews, who post them, were like, well, we need an interview. So I filled in for him that week, and it was really fun. It's a little bit different. It's totally different from acting, because it's about personality, and you really have to put yourself out there, especially when you're just like stopping people on the street to ask them questions. Sometimes they like don't want to talk to you, and they're like, oh, leave me alone, I have to go home, and whatever. Or they think that you're trying to sell them something, or, somehow this is going to cost them money if they stop and talk to you. So it's like really putting yourself out there, which is a challenge, for sure, but a lot of fun. I do love hosting. I love doing interviews. If you need an LA correspondent, right here, I can hook you up.
Okay, that is... I will not forget that. Because I currently have no connections in LA other than you just right now.
Wow, look what happened here. This is
you never know.
Business history in the making.
Yes. And for everyone out there, the Movie Buzz interview, along with episodes of Hell's Bells TV will be posted here on Space Jockey Reviews too, so don't miss those either. Hayley, what else is currently on your resume that you'd like to tell us about?
Okay, other things that you can go ahead and get and watch would be, if you're a horror fan, I have a movie called 100 Ghost Street, The Return of Richard Speck, which came out last summer. I don't think they've done a video on demand with it. I think you have to buy it on Amazon, but it's very reasonably priced. It's a found footage paranormal film, if you like those, and that was released by Asylum Home Entertainment. And I have another Asylum film that's being released on Tuesday, February 26th, and that is 500 Mile Per Hour Storm, starring Casper Van Dien and Michael Beach. And it is a disaster film, science fiction, and I just have a small part in it. I play a scientist, which is one of the things I wanted to be when I was a kid, so I get to be a scientist in that movie. So that's really awesome. That'll be out and available to view very soon. I also have, I just finished working on a film called Frank, starring Michael Fassbender and Maggie Gyllenhaal. And that is a kind of dry comedy about a indie hipster band from Ireland who come, well, my parts take place in Texas at South by Southwest. They end up playing, and I play an organizer for the South by Southwest New Bands Discovery. Just if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so I play this kind of funny hipster character called Simone, who has a bit of a flirtatious love connection with the main character, John, played by Donald Gleason. And it's really fun. That I don't know when that'll be coming out. It just finished shooting. But the director, Lenny Abramson, is Irish, and he has another film out called What Richard Did that's been at film festivals. It's been getting a lot of acclaim and recognition. And so I think Frank will do really well, especially with who's in it. I think it'll be released pretty broadly and hopefully make it to the U.S. as well. So,
all right. Well, I will definitely look for every one of those movies, and I will have those reviewed on Space Jockey Reviews for sure, too. They all sound very interesting, especially the science fiction films, and that sounds really, really interesting to me.
Well, 500 Mile Per Hour Storm, I'm kind of bummed they changed the name. Originally it was called Hypercane, and it was such a great title, and we loved the whole time we were making it, we're like, Hypercane! It's amazing. But it's also being released by Asylum. They like for their titles to have a number in them. So it got changed to 500 Mile Per Hour Storm, which is fun, but it's no Hypercane.
Oh, okay. Hypercane
Yeah.
is in obviously a very seriously hyper hurricane type.
Yes, I think the scientific explanation is if you have two or more class 4 tornadoes in the same vicinity, and then they come together, and when they come together it creates a hypercane. It's really cool.
Wow.
Yes.
I have definitely learned some important science information right here myself. I had no idea. I've never heard of that before. And I thought I knew most things about that stuff. But anyway. Since you co-wrote Bloom, do you see yourself writing more in the future, or do you perhaps already have more ideas for another story?
Writing is a huge mountain. I respect the people who can write a screenplay so much because I think it is such an art and such a discipline. I don't know. Paul writes and he's amazing at it. I can't. I try. I sit down, I try to write a script, and it's so hard. I would like to be able to. There are certainly some stories. I keep thinking of things that I'd like to write. I'm better at like writing a synopsis and then and then maybe working with someone to write a screenplay. I don't know if I'll ever be at the point where I could write one on my own, but who knows? I mean, maybe. My mom did, actually. My mom wrote a script, and it's awesome, like this great screenplay. It was just something, she's over 50, and it's just something that she had an idea to do, and rather than go out and try to get somebody else to write it, she wrote it herself, and she's already talking about selling it to someone to get them to make it. So I say it's never too late to try something new, and I probably will at some point in my life write a script, I hope, but I don't think it'll ever be my day job for sure.
Okay, and what else is in the future for you? Are there any other big plans or new projects on the radar down the road here?
Not anything I can publish yet, but there's a film that I've been talking about that I'm really excited about, but the contract's not signed yet, so I can't really say that it's official, but it's a horror action film, and so I very much hope that I'm going to be shooting that coming up in the next few weeks, but I don't know yet, so I can't really say it. But I'm sure, for as far as Rogue Taurus is concerned, we'll be making another feature film hopefully very soon. Paul has this script that we've been developing for a few years, and it's a fantasy sci-fi thriller, and a little bit of horror to it too. It's difficult to sell because it's one of those cross-genre films, but it's a really cool story. I hope we'll be making that soon, but that's something that we need a bit of a bigger budget for, so we have to do a lot of pre-selling and stuff for that. So
okay,
but that's called Dark Desert, and hopefully we'll be releasing that soon.
Well, we'll be looking for that also for sure. I also noticed in looking at your bio on your website, HayleyDerryberry.workbooklive.com, that you are fluent in German, and being able to speak another language is always a great asset as an actor, of course. Have you used the German language or perhaps an accent in any of your projects so far, or do you have any plans for it?
I have. First of all, Workbook Live, I don't even know if that's on anymore. That's my old website, but I have a new website that is HayleyDerryberry.com, if you ever want to go there.
Okay, I will look for that.
Yeah, and I actually just updated it today. I built that myself. Web designing, one of my new things that I'm learning. But yeah, German speaking, yes. I studied German in high school, and I was a foreign exchange student in Germany in 2003, 2004. And I love the German culture and the German language. I did get to work on a German film a few years ago called Friendship, and it wasn't released in the U.S. But it was, I think when it was released, probably like 2007 or 8, it was like the highest grossing German film at the time. It was a big deal. And I worked on that behind the scenes. It was shot in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I was a PA on that, and I was the assistant to the cast. And I got that job because I spoke German, and because our main cast were German. So working on that was great. I love working with European film crews. They're so much fun. It's just very different from the LA style of making movies. So that I worked on. I ended up working on a project for German History Channel that was a reenactment of the Roswell alien landing incident, the Roswell incident, and we shot that also in White Sands, New Mexico. And then I did a movie with a really low budget horror film where I played kind of a Nazi, neo-Nazi zombie zombie creator, one who makes zombies, I guess. That was a lot of fun to work on. But I haven't played a German character, even the neo-Nazi one. She was American, with German parents and stuff. So I haven't played a German character. I would definitely do it if offered. The German accent's really hard. Speaking German is one thing. Doing the German accent's difficult. Doing a slapstick German accent's pretty easy. Like if you're going to be doing something like, oh yes, I see that you are happening here. I don't know. If I don't have a script, I can't do anything. But yeah, doing those slapstick German accents are pretty easy. But most Germans that you speak to have a very subtle accent. Most of them have been learning English since they were young, and so it's a very hard accent to nail, I think. Yes. I should work on it more, though, but speaking German to me is much easier than speaking English with a German accent. Totally different. Yes. But I'd love to work in German film more. I'd like to work overseas and work on more German projects. I like the way that they shoot, and I like the way that they act. It's a different kind of acting, and I'd like to do more over there for sure.
Okay. I speak French fairly well. I can speak with a French accent also. But can you speak a little German for us, Hayley? Perhaps say something great about Space Jockey Reviews, and maybe I can use it for a soundbite on Space Jockey Reviews.
Let's see. What should I say about Space Jockey? I don't know how to translate Space Jockey.
That would just be Space Jockey Reviews with a German accent, and then whatever else.
Okay, how about... How about Space Jockey... Hold on, let me change gears. Okay. Space Jockey Reviews ist der absolut Hammer. Ja.
All right, that sounds good. And translate that for me, please.
Literally translated, it means Space Jockey Reviews is the absolute hammer. But in German, that's a very positive phrase, and it means it's really cool. So.
Okay. That's good enough for me. Is there anything else you'd like to add? This is your chance to talk about anything I haven't asked.
I don't know. Oh. We didn't talk a lot about comedy. I know it's not what you review, but
Go right ahead.
I'm studying comedy out here in LA, and I work. I studied at UCB, Upright Citizens Brigade Theater here in Los Angeles, studying improv, and now I'm with a group called Yes Anderson that does improv shows. We have a show tomorrow that I'm really excited and nervous about. Improv is new to me as an actor. I mean, I guess I did a little bit of improv in my acting classes, but actual performance theater improv is just totally new ground. It's totally outside of my norm, and I love it. It's really great, really fun. So that's been a huge challenge for me as an actor, and I'm very excited to be performing tomorrow. It's gonna be super cool, and we should be performing more often. But yeah, so I didn't get to talk about that, but comedy is a new thing for me. I started a few years ago. Actually, Indie, the series, the web series, was the first time that I ever tried comedy, and it was a director who I'd worked with a lot. Her name is Tantri Widja, and she's a great influence for me, and a really awesome director and writer, and she developed this web series and asked me to be a part of it, and then I was like, I've never done comedy before, I'm not funny. I was like, I'm not funny, and she had faith in me, and she just kind of coached me into it and said, it's not about being funny, it's about reacting honestly in a situation that is funny, and that's kind of how we approached Indie. And then, that went on. Then we did My Shadow, and then I've started doing improv out here. And then the movie that I just did, Frank, is largely comedy. My role is definitely comedy. So I've really, really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to see where else that takes me in the future. Because I think pretty much every genre you're working in, it helps to have a little bit of comedy, and almost all of them do. I mean, sci-fi, horror almost always have comedy to it. So having that in your back pocket, I think, is an important tool for an actor. So I'm really excited about that.
Okay. Well, that's not all. I also have what I call 5 random questions that have nothing to do with acting, designed to get to know you better personally. So here they are.
Okay.
If you could go anywhere in the world you've never been before, or even anywhere in the universe, since this is Space Jockey Reviews, where would you go and why?
Anywhere in the universe.
Well, you might only get that question on Space Jockey Reviews.
Well, I would really like to go to Brazil. I had a friend in high school who was from Brazil. She was an exchange student. She inspired me to be an exchange student. But I've never gotten to go and visit her. And everyone I met from Brazil are just amazing people. Really loving, outgoing, super, just full of heart, soulful people. And I would love to go and visit. That's kind of a dream vacation, but who knows if I'll ever get to. With all my family so spread out, anytime I have to travel, it's usually visiting family. But if I could go to Brazil, that would be an awesome vacation.
Yes, I agree. If you prepared your favorite food for a special guest, what would be on the menu?
I love baking. Baking's probably my favorite. I love baking cookies. I almost always bake chocolate chip cookies, but I've been experimenting with other kinds of cookies. I made some coconut cream pinwheels or something. Oh, they were delicious. I made them for a picnic. So dessert would be the most fun, but what else would I make? I like salmon. I like grilled salmon. I made grilled salmon for a friend who came over a couple days ago. I like asparagus. Pretty much anything that you can just kind of put in foil and then put it in the oven and let it just kind of cook for a long time. Turkey. Sure, any of those things always turn out great, and they're fun to make and easy to make. And I like making asparagus, carrots, all those yummy vegetables. I don't know. Caesar salad. I like.
You are quite a chef. Your husband is very lucky, actually, to have such a talented cook.
Yeah.
If you could travel back in time and interview a famous person from the past, who would it be and why?
First person that comes to mind is Freddie Mercury. My husband and I are big Queen fans. I don't know if you've seen pictures. There's some pictures on my personal Facebook from Halloween where my husband dressed as Freddie Mercury and I dressed as David Bowie, and we went to karaoke, and that was a lot of fun. We sang Under Pressure together.
Okay.
So yeah, Freddie Mercury. Gosh, I wish I could have been alive the same time as him. I mean, I guess I was, but I was very little, so I didn't get to appreciate it. But yeah, he would have been a really awesome person to be in the same room with, for sure.
Okay. If you could play your favorite character in your favorite movie, what would be the movie and the character?
Can it be a TV show?
Sure. Sure.
Okay,
Yes.
Then I want to play Starbuck, please, from Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
That would be my dream role. Can we just go back, shoot the whole series again, and I will play Starbuck? No disrespect to Katie Sackhoff, because she's pretty awesome, but that would probably be like a dream come true, for sure.
Okay. Okay. Do you think, this is a big question here, and this, you will be able to use your scientific knowledge and all your great love of science fiction to to think about this. Do you think there's life elsewhere in the universe? And if so, where? No, just kidding. You don't have to tell me where. You don't have to tell me where. Just, I had to startle you just for a moment. Just whether it's out there or not, someplace, somewhere, anywhere at all.
I'm gonna say yes. I think it is very, very small-minded, short-sighted to think we're the only people in the universe. There's just no possible way. There has to be. There has to be. They may not be so advanced in technology that they can travel across universes, but there's got to be other life-supporting planets for sure. One of my favorite series is Doctor Who. So I'm like, wouldn't it be so cool?
That's mine too. I have it's almost impossible to have all of the original episodes. There's just too many. But I have nearly all of them on DVD and all of the new stuff. I love that. Yes, absolutely.
It's so cool.
We have a lot in common.
I always like if you could design your own version of heaven, what it's going to be for you. Mine would definitely be to be able to travel through space and time and just be at any moment and see, just gain all the knowledge that there is in the universe. And that's what Doctor Who gets to do. It's so cool.
Yes, and I love that TARDIS principle, time and relative dimensions in space. What a wonderful, that would solve so much trouble with storage space, in the homes.
Yes. I'm upset that you never get to see more inside the TARDIS. Like, because it's got to be like a mansion in there, but we never get to see, like, the swimming pool and the library and all those places. I want to see those.
Yes. So, since we're talking about this, who is your favorite Doctor from the very beginning?
I have to say David Tennant, because I've worked with him before. He's awesome. I worked with him on a movie called on the Fright Night remake. I didn't act in that. I was a stand-in for Imogen Poots. She played the girlfriend, and I worked on that film. And we had David Tennant in there as the vampire hunter. What's his character? With the vampire guy from Fright Night.
Yes. Yes.
The name escapes me.
I can't think of it either, but I do know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but okay, anyway, I won't try to think about it. But yes, and he was so funny, so fun to work with. Really cool. We actually got to use a bunch of props from Doctor Who in that film when we created his home. He lived in this big loft in Las Vegas, and he had all these like cool little things that he had collected, and he had Peter Vincent. Thank you. Peter Vincent was his character. And he had a bunch of these little knickknacks, like a museum in his home, and he used props from Doctor Who that he had. So that was just really cool. Working with him was really cool. He's super funny. He would improv and go off in character, and just so hilarious. You couldn't keep a straight face around him. He was really fun to work with.
Yes, I can imagine he would be. He is just so funny. He's actually my favorite Doctor as well. Wow. So we have a lot in common. And, that's exactly the answer to that question that I would expect any true lover of science fiction to give me. So you definitely passed the Space Jockey test on that, for sure.
Yay!
Okay. Everyone, be sure to check out and like Hayley on Facebook at, of course, Hayley Derryberry, on Twitter at Hales Bells, on Hales Bells TV on YouTube, on IMDb, on RogueTourist.com, on Hayley's official website, and here on Space Jockey Reviews, where we will keep up to date with all the latest Hayley Derryberry news. And with Hayley's talent, we expect that to be quite a lot indeed. Hayley, your photo is on the sidebar of Space Jockey Reviews right now, and that's a great start for spreading the news around the universe already. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hayley, this has been a truly out-of-this-world interview. Good luck. Keep Space Jockey Reviews updated with all you do. And again, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Chris. It's been really fun.